Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha, and today I want to introduce to you guys my client Paolo. And I'm sorry about these not being in landscape. I told him, he's like, oh, I forgot, and he'll get it next time. So he came to me after some downtime as a client. He was someone I worked with for a short time. He's a hard gainer. He's got some digestive issues. And he realized, he's like, look, I'm not making any progress. Now, I know that we've got some form stuff that we need to fix. We're fully aware of that. But a lot of what we're dealing with him is nutrition related. It's overtraining related, and it's stuff that we have to fix. So the first thing when he came back to me, he said, "Look, I want to do the vlogs. I want to come back on and let's get some accountability." I'm like, okay, but you're going to have to eat. Okay, we can't have this. I'm scared of getting fat. Because again, everyone looking at him knows that being fat is the least of his concerns right now. All right, we also noted a few things early on. Nutritional deficiencies. I had him start running his stuff through Chronometer because, again, I thought there were some potential nutritional deficiencies based on what I was seeing. We found a lot of them. Very, very low levels of vitamin C, magnesium, and potassium in his diet. Those of you who know how these work, that explains tendon inflammation. It will explain poor performance in the gym. Okay, what else did we note? He overtrains. He had been running 5-3-1. I'm like, if you want to keep running 5-3-1, I can run you on 5-3-1. You were doing too many exercises. He's just doing too many. So what did his bench day look like? We just do 5-3-1 bench, boring but big. We do some dips and we do inverted rows. Right? That's what we do. Why? It's all he needs. It's all he needs. He's struggling to gain muscle, struggling to gain weight. We need better nutrition. He can't handle the volumes he was doing. He was coming in. People see this, well, the volumes are reasonable now. They're actually fairly high, right? Most people would agree. 5-3-1 bench, then 5x10 bench, 5 sets of inverted rows, and some dips. That's a lot of work for a bench day. He was doing like double that amount of stuff. All right? He was coming in and doing dips and delt work and everything. Multiple delt exercises, sometimes multiple tricep exercises on all his upper body days. He was adding multiple supplemental lifts to his lower days, like even trying to do good mornings on every lower day, plus other leg work. Right? It's too much. So this is, again, something I've made statuses about in the past with a lot of novice lifters like this who make no gains. What do we see? They train too much. And they don't eat enough. And that's exactly what we see here. And in his case, he's still skinny. He's definitely underweight. No matter what he tells me he weighs or what he says he feels like, I'm like, you're skinny. Okay. The only way this is going to be resolved is stop overtraining, get you to optimal training volumes, got to get more food in. It's the only way it's going to happen. And there is no other way. That's what he has to do. Now, we see the biggest issue I'm seeing with this squat. Notice that sometimes those elbows are coming up. He struggles to get the bar low enough. It's a little high, but that's because we've got to put more meat up top. How do we do that? We do that with the inverted rows. We do that with the deadlifts. We do that with eating more. He's got to thicken everything up. We have to. His squat mechanics will improve from that. Now notice his joints are a little lax. Notice his range of motions is deep on everything. Look how deep he did those dips. Look how deep he can squat. We're actually a little lax on some of the joints. Okay, I saw some deficiencies in his diet that affect collagen synthesis. All right, so we need to make sure that we fix that. He needs more vitamin C in his diet. I'm like, eat some fruit. Eat some fruit, brother. So we look at those things. Performance in the gym has been bad. Major deficiencies in magnesium and potassium. These affect muscle contraction. So we've got to get this food in. All right, the other thing to note, again, look at what his squat days look like. We do back squats, then we do goblet squats. That's it. 2 exercises. His bench day, what do? Plenty of bench volume. Do inverted rows, we do dips. He was doing ridiculous amounts of junk volume. But again, a common problem I see with a lot of these guys who struggle to make gains. They do just too much fluff work, too much junk, too much stuff in the gym. They don't recover from it. and they're not eating enough. They have nutritional deficiencies, not enough calories, and they're overtraining. Okay, this is not a good combination for muscle growth. It's a terrible environment. This is the classic worst case hard gainers. Then we factor in that he's had some digestive issues and other things on top of it. So, again, stuff that we've got to work on. Which, by the way, I apologize, guys, if I jump around here a little bit. This file has closed on me over 20 times. I'm only able to record like a minute or two of audio for this vlog for some reason. My computer does not like his videos for some reason from this segment. It really doesn't like them, so it's crapping out on me over and over. I have literally spent over an hour trying to record the audio for this vlog, so I apologize for some of that. I will eventually get this done, but I have over an hour of work invested just in trying to record this audio, and I only have 6 minutes in completed. So I'm going to keep trying to finish it. But again, something we've got to fix is overhead press, that elbow coming behind the bar. That's got to be fixed. And again, that will clean up considerably. As we get his back and lats bigger over time. So some of this can be fixed by just adding more meat, which requires us to eat more and overtrain less. Now, the other stuff that we'll need to talk about is the deadlifts and stuff are coming up. Deadlifting. He's had a lot of trouble with deadlifting, and it's because he rounds his low back because he's got weak hamstrings. But I want you guys to note when we get to the very end, we get to his good mornings, what are you going to see? He can hip hinge just fine. It's not a mobility issue. He's not tight anywhere. Okay, he's got a lot of joint lightness. This is not a problem at all because he can hip hinge all the way through on the good mornings to a full range of motion for the full set. However, when we get to the deadlifts, there's a reoccurring problem. We're dealing with a reoccurring compensatory strength issue because his hamstrings are weak. And again, being at a lighter body weight doesn't help that. His hamstrings are weak. That's why we've got to do the good mornings at the end. When he deadlifts, even if he sets up on the first rep in the right position, he starts rounding his lower back more and more and more and more with every single rep until we get to the point to where usually by rep 3 to 5, it no longer looks like the same exercise, does it? And even when he tries to reset, because his hamstrings are giving out, he keeps rolling it under, right? He's rolling it under to get away from it to use his low back. He's like, well, then my low back gets sore. It's like, well, because your low back is doing 100% of the work because you're not letting the hamstrings do anything. So we've got to get him used to using the hamstrings. Okay, we've got to get him used to using those hamstrings. So now once they're fatigued from the deadlifting, then we can do those good mornings. We can teach him to use them when they're in a fatigue state because that's really hindering him tremendously. And if you guys notice, it gets more pronounced the longer he goes through a set. So it's not a mobility issue. It's a compensatory strength issue. And it's him trying to compensate for his hamstrings getting excessively fatigued. They're getting excessively fatigued. And then he can't complete the set correctly because he's rolling under. And a lot of that requires him to concentrate. I'm trying to get him to focus on every rep, you need to push the hips back again. You have to. You cannot use your back. Do not let the back round. Keep that back in extension. Push the hips back even if it takes you re-pulling into the rep. And a lot of it's because he pauses at the bottom too. So we've got to learn to wedge against that bar, which means he's got to reset the hips on every rep so that he pushes them back and then drives the knees forward, right? So that we wedge against that bar because that's got to be fixed for him. So it's a technique thing that he could work on to help with the compensatory strength as we build up his hamstrings. But this is a major hang up for him. And it's something that has to also be corrected. And we will correct it over time, and it can be fixed. Now, I want to note in this first week, he didn't really get plus reps on anything other than the press, which means I'm a little concerned. So I'm going to have to check in with him a lot on, are we eating enough? Is the scale going up? You're going to have to add more food to your diet. You're going to have to eat more, kiddo. Because if the weights aren't going up, we're not eating enough. And if we're not getting plus reps, we're not getting 6, 7, 8 on some of those instead of just getting 5, right? We're not eating enough food. We're not gaining the muscle tissue. So this is going to be a challenging one. This is trying to build a hard gainer, and we'll see how this goes. I've built plenty of them like Robbie, which you guys have seen, so hopefully we can get this to follow through. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.